The raindrop you drew as a kid, that teardrop shape, doesn't exist. Not one real raindrop has ever looked like that. And here's the stranger part. Most of the rain that lands on you probably didn't even start as water. High-speed photography shows small raindrops are perfect spheres held together by surface tension, barely a millimetre across. As drops grow past 2 millimetres, air resistance pushes up against the bottom, flattening them like a squashed bun. By 4 millimetres, the drop's base caves in completely. Falling rain looks less like a tear and more like a tiny parachute. Push past 4.5 millimetres and the drop rips itself apart. The atmosphere shreds anything bigger before it reaches the ground. Falling drops aren't fast either. Most rain hits the ground at between 7 and 18 miles per hour. A drizzle can hang in the air for hours. A shower dumps everything in minutes. The difference is the machine that built the drops. School said clouds are like sponges. They soak up water until they're full, then they leak. Almost none of that is true. Water evaporates from oceans and lakes as vapor, a gas you cannot see, and rises. As it climbs, the air cools, and cooler air can't hold as much vapor. The water needs somewhere to go. But vapor can't become a droplet on its own. It needs a solid seed, specks of dust, pollen, and sea salt. Billions of microscopic droplets form around that airborne dirt, each so light that rising air keeps it floating. That's all a cloud is. So a cloud never fills up. The real question is how those specks of mist become drops heavy enough to fall. In warm clouds, droplets collide and merge into bigger drops, a slow pinball game called collision and coalescence. Grow heavy enough and gravity wins. That's the warm way. But across much of the world, rain is made by a frozen machine. Inside a tall cloud, the temperature drops below freezing, yet many droplets refuse to freeze. They're supercooled, liquid colder than 0 degrees. Ice crystals in the same cloud grow greedily, stealing water from the supercooled droplets around them. It's called the Wegener-Bergeron-Findeisen process, and it's how cold clouds turn mist into heavy, fallable ice. Those crystals collide, clump into snowflakes, and fall. If the air below is warm, they melt on the way down. So that summer raindrop on your window may have spent its whole life as ice, melting only in the final seconds. Sometimes the melt goes wrong. Snow melts through a warm layer, then hits freezing air just above the ground. The drops flash freeze the instant they touch roads, trees and power lines, coating everything in ice until branches snap and lines fade. Thunderstorm updrafts hold drops aloft to grow huge, sometimes into hail. But why do storms rage here and skip there entirely? Rain needs rising air. Anything that forces air upward, heat, collisions, mountains, cools it and squeezes the water out. Sun-baked ground heats the air above it, which rises fast. Convective rain. When cold air slams into warm, the warm rides up and dumps rain. Heavy, short showers on cold fronts, gentle all-day rain on warm ones. Mountains force wind upward. The rising air cools, condenses, and drenches the windward slopes of the range. The air that spills over the top has lost its water. The far side becomes a desert, the rain shadow. For most of history, where rain fell was fate. Then, in 1946, humans decided to take over. Cloud seeding works by cheating the recipe. If clouds need seeds, why not fly up and plant them yourself? Since 1946, planes have dusted clouds with silver iodide, dry ice and salt to force droplets to form faster. The United Arab Emirates now sends drones that zap clouds with electric charges, knocking droplets together into drops heavy enough to fall. Does it work? The honest answer: the evidence is still surprisingly thin after nearly 80 years of trying. So next time rain hits your window, remember what you're seeing: airborne dust, dressed in melted ice, falling in tiny parachutes. The teardrop was never real. The truth was always stranger. And on one of Saturn's moons, it rains something that isn't water at all.